not good at? I mean, there's plenty of things that we mess up every day that we see in practice after or in film after we come from a winner, and it's good to see it. And well, just working on our holds, and I think we do a good job in our holds, but just trying to just continue to get better in that, continue to just increase our on-ball pressure and stuff like that. I think we do. We have a lot of different people that do a lot of different things, so the fact that we just stick to our strengths definitely helps kind of hide the weaknesses.
With so many new guys, how do you explain being so good defensively? Because usually that takes time to develop the chemistry on defense.
I think it's all just buying into coaches like defensive schemes and what we're doing, what the scouting report is, and also he recruited a lot of guys who are good one-on-one defenders, so that also helps. When you got guys that can guard one-on-one, and then you also do that team defense aspect and buy into like the scouting reports and stuff like that, it just carries over into the game.
You talk about those weaknesses. This game against Long Island, one of those games where you can kind of work on those things a little bit more focused?
Yeah, I think this game is just similar to every other game. Just continue to just execute and continue to just and play the same way we do in practice. So just carrying that over into the game and just taking it with the same exact approach that we take to every other game.
What's Joey brought to the team? He seems to be, really into playing. They're happy on the court.
Yeah. Cali kid, he got a lot of swag, and he's also just like a really good connector for the group. Like he just is always around everybody. One of the most lively players in the locker room, on the court. Great energy guy. There's never a day where he doesn't bring energy. So like that helps me a lot too in practice and in games too. When maybe I'm feeling down, he's there to build me up. And he's also just a jokester. Like he's always around. He's all over the place. And then on the court, you can see how it just translates. And everybody wants the best for him. And he's a great worker. Has great work ethic. Worked his butt off all summer in the gym, running sprints. We ran hills. He actually came in second place.
Who's first?
Me.
I figured that was the answer, but you weren't going to let him win that one.
Huh? No, he was right there, though. Okay. He was right there. I had to keep going. I wanted to slow down, but he was right on my tail, so I had to keep going. That's just like what he brings to the team, though, is toughness and then also just like a camaraderie.
I know you have been playing for a bit since you recovered from the injury, but how do you feel like you've continued to progress since you came back?
I think it's just growing game by game and just growing into my role and figuring out ways I can just help impact winning, and whether that's offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, guarding, scoring a ball when I can, and taking open shots. It's just talking to the coaches and seeing what they want from me and what my role is out there, and just continually trying to get better and grow that role. So that's the biggest thing.
You guys flew out right after the game. What was that plane ride like?
It was good. I think a lot of guys were dead. We didn't get back till about like 4 or 5 in the morning. They had to go to class the next morning, so it was tough, but it was definitely good. We all had a good time with one another, chopping it up, talking about the game and stuff like that. So it went well. It was good.
Is this team a loud traveling team, or is it kind of a quiet, headphones in, sleepy?
I say we're a loud team. I think Phil would agree with that.
Donovan looks like he was having some fun with the fans at the end of the game. Is that kind of somewhat just a good feeling? How about where you guys stand right now?
Yeah, definitely. That kid has a lot of personality. He came here from Bristol, so it's like, I don't know. He just got a lot of pride for UConn, and he came here with a chip on the shoulder, and just like going into another place, you feel that like, all right, like we got to stand up for UConn, and we had a lot of fans there as well. So just like, I think that carried confidence for us, like just seeing all of our fans out there in Florida.
How has Coach really helped you not lose sight of those true goals you set out for yourself at the beginning of the season, even when you guys have all this momentum?
It's just all about human nature. It's like you don't let complacency creep in when it usually does, and that's the biggest thing. It's just like he's always reiterating to us just all the different things. We weren't preseason top 25. We weren't top 2 in the league before the season started, all that kind of stuff, and that just kind of puts our chip on our shoulder and the battery in our back to just bring it in practice and just play with that same enthusiasm, that same love for the game, really. And nobody on this team is trying to do it for themselves, so that helps as well.
I know Big East doesn't start till next week, but do you pay attention to scores right now of the Big East teams, or is it? What have you thought much of the Big East coming up?
No, I haven't personally, but I know a lot of guys watch a lot of the college basketball games and see where different guys are going. I've seen a couple games from Creighton, of course. Other than that, I haven't really been too locked in on the Big East schedule. I'm more focused on just game by game and really just locking into the scouting reports and studying the players that I'm about to play against.
So that happens, obviously, starting next week. You'll start kind of locking in.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Being 9 deep, how does that help your defensive intensity? Does it feel like, maybe I can follow this guy because I can have someone else come in for me if I need to? Does that kind of help that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that definitely helps when you have guys that can come in and make just as much of an impact as you. It just gives you that confidence to like, all right, I'm just going to go all out because I know that if I come out, I have somebody that's going to back me up and really bring the same energy I do to the court. So it definitely helps having such a deep team, and I think that all comes from preparation, and everybody's locked into the scouting report. We don't have too many mess ups, and that helps us win games.
How much is your defense going to fuel your offense as a team?
I think that's gonna be the real core part of our team is defense, turning defense into offense. We have a good transition team and we have a good defensive team. So just using that getting stops and pushing it and not letting the team get offensive rebounds, that kind of stuff is definitely going to lead to our offense. And I think we have a lot of guys who play well in transition. So especially once Sampson gets back, we'll be able to really like push the pace in transition and run the floor very well. We had a lot of guys who can make plays, a lot of guys who can make transition threes, dominant force inside with Adama, running the floor. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
Without being as deep as you are, I know everyone said, there's no real one go-to scorer, but then how do you avoid, the malaise of somebody being like, it's my team or it's my team if you're going that deep?
I don't really know. I think everybody knows what each player brings. You know what I mean? Like for me personally, I know if Adama's inside, I'm gonna throw him the ball. If Hawk is on the wing, I'm gonna throw him the ball. If AK is on the wing, I'm gonna throw him the ball. Just like I don't think nobody's thinking about it in that sense. They're just more thinking about it. How do we get a score or a stop on this possession? Like who's the guy that is hot? Who's the guy that's in rhythm right now? You know what I mean? Like who's ahead of the ball? Just different stuff like that.
Throughout your career, have you ever been a part of a team that's that selfless with no one really with that big head?
I've been a part of teams that were like that, but nothing like to this extent with such great level players. I played on teams where maybe the talent wasn't as high, you know what I mean? And there was a very selfless nature to the team. But to have so many talented guys who can honestly want to be the guy, you have probably 8 or 9 guys that can be like, I want it to be my team. For everybody to sacrifice and just be like, this is our team and we're going to do whatever it takes to win, that's definitely something special. I've never been a part of.
You guys take pride in the fact, you're just here to win games, but win every game by double digits. That's a pretty impressive streak. Does that hit you at all, or does it really matter?
I don't know if it really matters. It's just like, it's all just within the game, and just playing defense and stuff like that definitely helps with that kind of stuff, like getting separation from teams down the stretch. When you're up 10, just trying to push it to 20, and that's just kind of like the approach that we're taking, is just like always trying to stretch the game and always trying to find a way to just get away from the opponent. And that's kind of like the mentality that we all take to the game.
Andre, I know you've talked about seeking out some new things from different veteran leaders throughout your career, but what's a valuable lesson that you've really learned from Joey?
A valuable lesson I learned from Joey is you can't always be so serious. Like, if you just take yourself too serious all the time, it's never you're gonna be too uptight. So, just seeing the way he's all over not even all over the place. He just knows how to balance himself, and he knows like what he has to do. Like, but at the same time, he doesn't let it consume him and make him too anxious or nervous. So I like that, and also his swag. He just knows how to carry himself on the court. He really gets the crowd into it, especially when we're at gambling.